So far we've done a couple closing the gaps, one attack combination, and one defensive combination. Now what we're going to work on is another closing the gap. This next technique is the very first of the second tip techniques, and it's called sun reverse. Now, you will find the sun reverse comes directly out of the Kempo system. Back in my competition days, if you saw two guys sparring, you hear one of them go, 69! And what 69 meant was sun reverse. But it's also meant, because of all of our sparring techniques are meant to be combat techniques, this is also meant to be a combat technique. This particular one, the closing the gap mechanism, is the step drag. Once again, so Jordan, if you'll bring it to my feet, the step drag, and that is the closing mechanism. What we're doing with this is twofold. The very first technique, when I step drag, is a vertical sun punch. Now, that's a punch that comes straight in, makes contact with these two fingers of the ram's head, and pops upwards. Now, that's immediately followed by a reverse punch. You'll notice with this technique, I'm beginning to change exchange dimensions. We never change dimensions, we exchange dimensions. If I'm exchanging lower, that means I'm exchanging longer. If I'm exchanging higher, it means I'm exchanging thinner or wider. So in this particular case, I'm extending the technique. I'm here in my fighting stance, boom! There it is. Now you notice I'm probably about 6 inches lower than I was a second ago. Immediately followed by, and back to my fighting stance, right here. So at full speed, it looks like this. And back to that fighting stance. Again. And a little slower. And back to the fighting stance. And a little slower. And again. And faster. Now, you will find that this technique works best from closed book position. Okay? So I'll go closed book with Lucas. Okay? And when I'm here in my fighting stance, I can be either at the critical distance or within the gap. In this case, I'll start at critical distance. So I'm here, Lucas and I are moving, boom, right there, and back to the fighting stance. Again. Okay? We're here, right there, and I'll watch the hips. When I extend, my hips open, and that way I can get the best power out of the reverse punch. Doing it closed open book, I will, of course, step slightly behind him. So I may come in, boom, with my foot's behind him. And again, right on the liver. So at full speed, it looks like this. And if he moves away from me, still got him with reverse punch. That's called sun reverse.